Personalizing student engagement is only possible when enrollment management and Marcom are aligned. At Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, Ryan Hogan's team uses Element 451 to improve student outcomes.
They love the AI functions where if they're coming up with an email campaign, they can ask it to help develop something and then they go in and edit that. They also really enjoy the use of the landing pages for the campaigns that we build. So not only do we design emails and things, but we can also have landing pages that can give information to our students. And so they really brings the team together. So our enrollment staff is helping identify what the issue is, and then the marketing and communication staff can collaborate with them in Element to provide the solution for the problem we're trying to solve.
Aligned teams create better experiences for students. Visit element451.com to learn how an AI-first student engagement platform fuels a smarter, more connected campus experience. Welcome to Talking Tactics, a podcast that gets you results. Each episode features a single tactic, implemented with limited resources, that move the needle in some way. I'm your host, Day Kibbles, Vice President of Strategy at Ology, a marketing and branding agency for education. Join me every other week for discussions with some of the most clever folks in higher ed worldwide, doing the work day to day, just like you. Talking Tactics is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, a leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Check them out at element451.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talking Tactics. My name is Day Kibbles, and I am your host. Today, we're diving into a part of the enrollment funnel that we often don't talk about, but it is so crucially important: supporting students through their payments. With me today is Karen Sorrell, Senior Business Operations Manager at Carroll Community College. Karen changed the email that went out to remind students of their payment from a long, dense email to a more supportive and friendly email series. This change resulted in a 16% increase in students proactively seeking her support and a 95% success rate in resolving their payment concerns. I can't wait to learn more. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm excited about this topic because, as I said, I feel like it's a part of the enrollment process that often kind of doesn't get talked about, but it's so crucial.
It is incredibly crucial. We kind of laugh in here. I actually, at one point, our admissions office, they had really worked on steps to coming to college, and they didn't include pay your bill. And I said to them, hey, you guys, and we do kind of, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to talk about that. I said, no, I understand you don't, but we kind of have to.
Oh my gosh.
So we do realize that as much as it is the part that we don't really want to talk about, it's kind of a good part to actually get achieved. So we do need to focus on it.
And there's also so much anxiety around it, right? So, yes. All right, let's talk about exactly what you did. What was the issue that you were noticing and the problem you were trying to solve?
When we really think about coming to school, there are so many steps to it. Mm-hmm. And we totally respect that it can be very, very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And what we were trying to resolve is how can we communicate with students so that they know what they need to do at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, having put my own 3 kids through school very, very recently, that a lot of schools they just expect the student to go find the information. Our school does approach things a little bit differently. And when we think about marketing, we do often focus on enrollment and class registration. And we do overlook that last part, but we really need to take a look at how it is that we can reach students. And our focus as a community-based school is that we want to be accessible and we want them to know what information they need at what time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that we really did start to take a look at, and that I looked at from the fiscal perspective, is that our outstanding balances had grown by 37%. over the same equal time in a previous year. And that was just a 1 year over to year because we were seeing a continuous growth in the level of unpaid outstanding balances. And
wow.
as we can all guess, that's really not financially feasible.
Yeah.
And we do also want to teach our students to be good stewards and know what they need to do. So that was also a really significant part of the problem. We also were experiencing a double percentage growth in amounts going to collections at the end of the semester. And we don't ever want to see our students go to collections.
No.
So it's about being proactive about the problem instead of coming into it from a reactive situation. So that's where we were coming from and looking at how can we address this.
Yeah. Well, and these are the kind of issues that as soon as they get out of hand, they feel monumental, right? Like if you are able to stop this during like that first payment or before that first payment, then it's a lot less overwhelming to resolve, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this is, I just can't wait to hear what you did. So talk to us about the idea to solve this issue.
So while I am currently in fiscal affairs and finance and accounting, the interesting part is that I actually come from a background in media studies with a focus on interpersonal and organizational communication. And although it doesn't always seem to go together, I'm here to attest that yes, it does.
It's very necessary for these things to go together.
That's right. So I really knew how important communications can be, particularly when you're dealing with difficult things. And when you open a platform to let students know, that they can come talk to you about something that's a difficult conversation, it increases the likelihood that they're going to respond. Mm-hmm. In our case, again, we're a community college based in an area outside of Baltimore where we have a lot of first generation students or they're just entirely on their own. We also have a population that they are working full time while going to school, supporting a family. So we don't have a significant body of traditional students, and we really look for ways to help them basically take this off in small chunks and be able to figure out how to be flexible, but still obviously meet their goals. So what we had before I came into this position was that we would email students, but the email was extremely long. And I know how important information is. Yeah. I really do. But from the perspective of people on this end, every piece of information that was in that email was incredibly important. But many students, we have to recognize they read a lot of this on their phones. Yeah. If they even read it, we have to send it by email. We have developed a texting function, but as I kind of joke with them, I can't snap them. We can't do it on Instagram. Like it's got to be.
It has to be email. It's an official communication.
Yes. And when I looked at the email that we were sending in a mobile format on a phone, it took at least 10 scrolls to get through the whole email. Oh my goodness. And again, as I joke, I know they'll scroll through Snapchat. I know they'll scroll through TikTok, but most of them are not scrolling through an email that many times to take a look at it. And the other thing is that we all just get so many emails in a day, it can be hard to parse out the information that you need. Mm-hmm. So I did work with our marketing department and our chief marketing officer to get a different set of eyes on it because I knew that what we needed to tell them, you have a balance, you need to pay it so you can take your classes and here's how. Mm-hmm. And our goal was really, obviously, we want you to pay your bill. But I also really wanted to increase the likelihood that if they were struggling or they weren't sure what to do, that they would feel free to reach out and communicate. Yeah. I needed to get them to respond. So we wanted to encourage them to reach out sooner rather than later. Yeah. Because the longer you wait, the harder it is. Yeah. And I also really wanted them to see us with less fear. I also sort of joke that I know the financial aid office, they give you money and we're the ones who are taking it. They don't really want to talk to us. And I needed to kind of work my way over that barrier because if I can get them to talk to me, then I've got options to be able to help them. I can't solve everything, but I'll do my best to solve what I can, but I can't do it if I don't know about it.
Oh my gosh. I just love this mentality, this mindset. When you look across the industry at how many students leave and they don't retain, they don't finish. If you ask them why, it's usually a financial concern. And what I love about this is you kind of realizing that and being proactive about finding a solution, which they may not even know exists, right? Like they're in their own universe in a panic and they don't know their options. So this is such a service. I just love it.
Well, and fear is a powerful negative driver. Like it can really stop you from communicating. And then it often will stop you from even finding out that you actually have options.
Yeah.
Like if you're afraid to ask, then you don't know. And
Yeah.
one of the things that we definitely don't want to happen is for students to leave with a balance, but nothing to show for it. Meaning I don't want them to withdraw. I don't want them to drop. I want them to find solutions. And I can't do that if I don't open the path for them to talk to us.
I love it. So how did you do it? How did you open up that path?
Okay, so we broke down one email into a sequence of 5, and we really did change the tone to being more supportive. There are definitely times when I have to say, oh, here's the end of the road. But I don't want that to be the beginning tone. Like I really wanted the beginning tone to be very much friendly, supportive. Hey, we noticed that you haven't paid yet. Do you have questions? So I also needed to make it easy. Give them visual options in the email as much as I can. Do you need this? Click here. Do you need that? Click here. Most of us are really much more visual today and a much more quick response on a small piece of information. That's what I needed to find. So the first one really focuses on the friendly reminder, don't forget to pay your bill. The due date is coming up. The second one really focuses on a bit of a broader view of payment options. All of this stuff is available on our website, but I looked for ways to break it down into snippets to get them to the right place. The third one really focuses on our deferred payment options and really talks to them at that point. That one is coming kind of before the semester starts. And so I do say in there, if you've decided not to take classes, please make sure you drop them because it's not an automatic drop all the time. So you need to make sure that you're taking care of your account and not just assuming it's going to disappear, because we do have some of them that really kind of think, well, if I just don't pay,
it'll go away.
Then I won't have the responsibility. And then we do have a drop process. So I do have to send an email that says, if you do not pay by this time and date, you are going to be dropped from your classes. You're going to lose that spot. So those are, I start off very friendly. And even the last one, it's really this is information. I'm not here to yell at you, but I am here to say I have to inform you that this is happening. So the language is just this at this date and time. If you've not been able to pay or contact me, we will have to process a drop, but I'm available for questions. Please reach out and we will work out a plan. So we also developed a text messaging methodology. We can text them as long as they opt into it. And that's been helpful too.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about the tone change is how it went from being this almost punitive transaction to a person. And when I think a lot about email and how people use email, and it's so impersonal, it's so different than how we would speak to them if they were in our office. Because we all, there's a reason we work in higher ed. We want the best for these students.
Yes.
And we would never yell at them in all caps, red bold in our office. We never would.
No, and that was the other email too. The original one had a lot of red lettering and yellow highlights, and they're colors that are associated with a negativity in a lot of ways when they're used in that manner. And I do address the email. We're able to do it in a way that we use their preferred or chosen name. A lot of them have nicknames. They like that. It's not meant to be overly familiar, but that is the name that they've put in the system, and we're able to grab that.
Yeah.
So it is addressed to them. Again, to try to establish that rapport.
Yeah, it's how you would speak to them if they were in your office. And I love that you were able to take that and translate that into the email communications that they got.
Yeah.
Want to know what AI-powered, people-focused really looks like? The 2025 Engage Summit will show you how AI transforms engagement without losing the human touch. Join us on June 24th and 25th in Charlotte for actionable insights, hands-on demos, and transformative strategies. Enrollify listeners save $50 with code Enrollify50. Sign up at engage.element451.com. As you were developing these emails, as you were implementing this process, and did you face any resistance? Were there any challenges that showed up for you?
I did not face any resistance, which is good. And I will say, in the scope of implementing change in a large institution, this one was pretty easy. For those of us who work in large institutions, you understand the steps that often need to happen. The good news on this one is that it really was pretty easy. I look at this process as really a really significant impact for relatively little investment, both in time and certainly there was no money investment, which is always nice. And it does make it easier. I would acknowledge for myself personally, the hurdle was, although my, like I said, experience as an organizational and interpersonal communication, sometimes it can be really hard to determine how to reconfigure something when you're heavily invested in it. And I had ideas, but I'm really fortunate in that we do have people here on campus that were willing to partner with me, and just getting their objective viewpoint was really helpful. It allowed me to go and say, look, here's what I want to do. Here's what I think I can do. I need you guys to tell me what to put in, what not to put in. Because there were a couple times I was like, well, but that really needs to go in. And they were like, no, it doesn't. It's okay. So having that in the background, just when you're in it yourself, it can be hard to parse it out. I could have done it for somebody else. It was hard to do it for my own self,
that's great advice. So, I remember during my time in admissions, this would happen a lot. Like if we wanted to send an email that was about something exciting, about a promise of a certain opportunity, well, we can't say that because they don't have an offer of admission. So we have to say, if you like, no, we don't. No, we kind of don't. And there are some legal requirements, obviously, to certain things, but I think we over-index on being careful in higher education, for sure.
Yeah.
So can you share some of the results that you saw? You kind of laid the foundation of what you were trying to solve when we first started talking about this. What did you see at the end?
So some of it was anecdotal, but it was really meaningful to me. So some of the times they would actually email me back and be like, thanks so much, Miss Karen. I'm getting this paid. My mom's sending the bill, whatever. It was just much more like I knew that based on the way that they were responding to me, that the idea of being more personalized was working. And I definitely saw the dramatic increase in communications with me. The response, as I said, was more personalized. It really opened up a more meaningful conversation with them. I had a 16% increase in the response rate for people just getting back in touch with me. But the most important part was not all of them need to communicate with me. And so the ones that did are the ones that I really focused on. And we had a 95% success rate in solving their issues when they did respond to us. I can't fix everything. If it's the week of classes and you're just registering and you haven't applied for aid, it's really hard for me to say, oh, it's okay, you don't need to pay your bill. And that's just something that I have to accept in the position. But we really worked hard with them to develop personalized payment plans if we needed to. Some of them in particularly our military students who are Chapter 35, they get benefits directly to them. And if they talk to us and work it out, we work with financial aid. We work on being really, really flexible. But I definitely enjoyed the more personalized interaction with them. I was shocked at that increase in response rate. I realized that we can really look at numbers, and 16% can be really good in one area. In another area, it's like, oh, that's only 16%. But for us, I viewed this as very promising because my goal was to get the people who needed help to feel that they were in a place where it was okay to reach out and say, I need help.
And then they got it,
got it
in most cases, which when you think about the kind of long-term impact of that, it could be the difference, like make it or break a difference in their career and their,
Correct.
It's such a huge impact, really. Did you notice any differences in the outstanding payments as a result of this?
Oh, yes. Yes. I did. And we have implemented some other things going forward that have affected that. But the difference in the outstanding payments was also noticeable. For this particular semester, I noticed an 11% drop in the outstanding payments. And for these students who fell into this particular category, I had 100% pay rate, meaning that they were successful. So what I mean is we got them into a place where we could make things work if I just know about their situation. Some of them were late in applying for financial aid, but I said to them, okay, here are some steps we can take to get a hold on your account for financial aid to verify your eligibility so you don't have to pay out of pocket. So that is my promise that we saw. And I really did enjoy some of their emails when they came back to me. And again, some of them were, thank you so much for the reminder. I'm doing everything I can. This is what's happening. They really did start to communicate more. And that was good because here in the business office, we're in a windowless area in a corner of the school, and they come to us for certain things, but a lot of times we don't have direct interaction with them. So anything I can do to interact with them is promising.
Folks can't really see me, but I'm smiling because I just love if we know about it, we can make it work. I just love that mentality. And I love that your goal, although it's great that there was a drop in outstanding payments, that your goal wasn't really that your goal was, you can talk to me, I will help you, and that you achieved that. And I think coming from that place, it's lovely that you saw these results, right? It's because it wasn't this mechanical transactional goal to begin with. It was a human goal.
It was a human goal. And that is really what it is. And I firmly believe that if they see us as a partner in their education and talk to us about what's happening, that we can actively help them. I don't want anybody to be on their own. I do believe that we walk together and that you will be more successful when you have others walking beside you. We don't have to do everything all on our own all the time. And I also really found that the door opened. I had some parents calling and saying, look, my son or daughter showed me your email. Here's the deal. I didn't go to college. I don't know how to help her. What can I do? And that was very meaningful as well. My husband and I are both first generation college students. Technically, my mom went back to school as an adult and earned her degrees. But again, we both knew what it was like to go through school back many years ago. Yeah. As the first. So I had a heart for that and helping parents get through it because, again, we several of us have joked around here, look, we work in this industry, and when you put your own kids through school, it's like, well, I don't think I know what I'm doing. And it's like, wait, I do this in my job. How can I not?
And how could we
as a parent, it's different.
How do we expect those who don't work in this to know?
Yes,
right?
To know. Yeah, exactly.
This is just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. Do you have any advice for anyone who might want to try to implement something like this at their institution?
So I think that my advice would be to evaluate first, just sit back and try to do a very honest evaluation of your communication procedures with your students. I think too, if you have the ability, evaluate who you can reach out to, who will give you an honest feedback on your communication. How you are sending something, you may be interpreting a message that the receiver's not actually getting. And so finding somebody, again, most of us, if you're in a college situation, you have people on campus who would be willing to do this for you. And I would say really start there. If you have the ability, reach out to current students, ask student engagement, ask student affairs, whatever your department is on campus. Would you have a few students who might sit down with me? Essentially, you can develop your own focus group. Yeah. With some honest feedback that doesn't take a lot of time or money or effort, things like that. And just really ask them, how do you take this? Like, what would help you with communication given what I can use? Again, like I said, I can only use email and text or snail mail paper, which is not typically what we do. So I can't reach out to them via their chosen methods for the most part, but how will they receive it? And I really think reaching out, if you want somebody to reach out and ask you for help, you have to be willing to reach out and ask for help too. Yeah. And so really starting there yourself and getting other people involved to give you feedback on what it looks like to them would make a huge difference.
You have said so many one-liners that I just need to quote and put on a poster. If you want someone to reach out for help, you have to be willing to ask for help too. Wow.
We forget that, I think.
What a closing thought. I love that.
I think it's, if you want a friend, be a friend. Well, if you want help, be willing to ask for help. You've got to be open on both sides.
Because that humility shows when you extend the hand, right? Okay, well, I am just completely over the moon with this tactic. I am so proud of what you accomplished and so inspired by this. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with Talking Tactics listeners today.
You're very welcome. I love to look for little things that'll make big issues seem much smaller. And I know for a lot of us, just wanting our students to know that we're here and help them succeed is a huge part of what we do in higher education. So if anybody's able to use this, I'm thrilled.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely done that. You've made a really big thing seem solvable for so many students. If anyone listening wants to contact you and learn more and maybe get your help, where can they find you?
They can definitely find me on LinkedIn.
All right.
I believe you'll have the link in the bio.
Yes,
so that would be a great way to contact me. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Please reach out because I think this is such an important part of the enrollment process. And Karen has really cracked it here.
Well, I have to give credit where credit is due. Our marketing department definitely helped me out and really just brought it down to making it seem like it could definitely happen for me. So I really appreciated their input on it as well.
That's excellent advice. Work with the folks in your campus community. We're all in this together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Karen. And thank you too to our listeners. That's the end of our episode today. Remember to follow and subscribe to keep walking the walk and talking the tactics. The Talking Tactics podcast is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions pros find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's bests as your hosts, like Jamie Hunt, Allison Tercio, Jenny Lee Fowler, Jeremy Tiers, and so many of your other favorite leaders in higher ed too. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Check them out at element451.com.